Last week, I worked on the two Johnny Storm figures. I gave one a haircut and I touched up the flame effect on the other one. And now I have the entire Fantastic Four family, including baby Franklin. Check out those videos if you haven't already. But there's one more figure from this wave. The Silver Surfer. This one is the least interesting figure in this wave in my opinion. She's fine the way she is, but there are a few things I want to touch up.
Let's deconstruct this figure.
The Silver Surfer is silver. And as we all know, Hasbro prefer using the silver plastic on their figures rather than painting them silver. In this case, I think they made a wise decision. There is silver paint on this figure, but it's only on her hair. Normally I would complain, but I think this works for her because it gives her this wet hair look, drawing the attention up to her face. As a cost-cutting measure, I don't mind it. But of course, I would much prefer her having the same silver paint on the rest of the body. Speaking of body, there are these subtle gold marbling effects done on the torso. I don't really know why they did that. This is the only thing I dislike about this figure. Everything else looks good, including the eyes and lips. Overall, this figure is decent, and I really like that they provided an effect piece for the surfboard. I'm aware it's backwards here, but it works too. Anyway, I want to make Shalabal even shinier. She is a Silver Surfer after all. The silver plastic looks too lightweight. So...
Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. Whether it's repainting my figures or making diorama displays, I love making things look awesome. My goal is to elevate my figures so they can shine on my display. Join my DIY adventure as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it?
This plastic is quite slippery. I feel like the paint isn't going to stick onto the surface that well. So I'm going to rough up the surface by lightly sanding it with sandpaper. The best way to tackle this is probably with chrome paint. But as you all know, I don't have any chrome paint. So I'm going to use what I have to try and achieve the same look. I've done something similar with Infinity Ultron, and most recently Mr. Freeze. They turned out pretty cool. They may not look exactly like chrome, but they still look pretty believable in my opinion. I actually learned this from one of your comments. In order to achieve that metallic look, there needs to be a black base underneath the silver. Okay, the surface is still pretty slippery. I didn't sand it thoroughly enough. Whoops. It also doesn't help that I dampened my brush as well, as I wanted to thin out the black paint. It's not the end of the world. I just need to make sure I end up with an even thin layer of black paint on the surface. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep brushing the black on and try and get an even coverage. This brush is still pretty wet, so I'm kinda pushing the paint around. It feels like I'm making it worse, but I just need to keep working on it until the water dries up. Now I'm gonna switch to the dry soft brush and continue swiping at it so that the paint doesn't dry splotchy. This brush is going to pick up a lot of the wet paint, but it will also reapply it back onto the surface, except it's going to lay down drier and smoother. Look at that difference. Now it looks like she got a tan. Actually, this already looks so much better. She's still shiny, but doesn't look as cheap. So let me repeat this process on the rest of the body. I'm going to leave the face for now. I'll work on it later. Now that the black base has fully dried, I'm going to add a thin coat of silver over it to make it shinier. When it comes to adding silver or gold over a large surface, I recommend keeping the paint thin. And I don't mean watering it down. I just mean using a small amount at a time. If the paint is too thick, it's going to either leave brush strokes or dry bumpy. It's better to dust it on so it doesn't look streaky. This is already pretty good, but I want to exaggerate the chrome effect. When I look up images of the Silver Surfer, there's this high contrast look to him and her, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and fake it. Using a damp brush, I'm going to add a little bit of black to emphasize the shading. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let me do the same to the face. A base coat of black, a thin coat of silver, and then a bit more black to redefine the lips and eyes. And just a bit of shading on her hair. Wow, look at that. She's so shiny. But you know what? I'm not done. In the movie, Shala Ball often reflects what's around her. She even reflected Johnny's face at one point. Now my paint may be shiny, but it's not reflective. But I do want that chrome look. And when it comes to the chrome effect, it often has this blue tint to it. So I'm going to mimic that by adding a touch of this light blue metallic paint over the surface. It's gotta be subtle. I don't want her to be blue. I just want her to look like she's reflecting something in the environment. While I'm at it, let me dot this light metallic blue over her pupils. She got baby blue eyes in the movie. You know what? I'm still not satisfied. It's too subtle. Let me try again, but with a punchier metallic blue. Next, I'm going to do the same, but this time with a bronze color. And I'll add this as a shading color. So what I'm trying to achieve is a silver body with blue highlights and bronze shadows. Bam! Look at that! I love this. Let me make her even shinier with a layer of glossy varnish. This will also seal the paint as well. Can't forget her hands. Onto the surfboard. Now that I know it works, I'm going to repeat the same process. Base layer of black, thin coats of silver, a bit more emphasis with the black, some metallic blue highlights, and some bronze shadows. And finally, seal it with a glossy varnish. Done. Now let's put it onto the base. Okay, you know what? Let me see if I can make the base cooler too. The good thing is, this isn't exactly movie accurate, so that means I can do whatever I want. Let me make the bottom of the base more red. I'm going for a fiery look. And then I'm going to darken the bottom with the brown. With fire, I feel like it gets lighter in the center or at the top, so painting the bottom darker should give it that look. And finally, I'm going to paint the tips yellow, kinda like what I did with Johnny. The yellow's a bit chalky, so I'm going to blend it out with some red and orange. Here's what it looks like now. I think it looks better, but I want to do even more. So arguably, the best sequence in the movie is the black hole chase scene between the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four. The base reminds me of that scene in particular, so I want to recreate the black hole. Now clearly I'm no physicist, nor do I know how to create black holes. What I can try though is create something that looks like one. When I look up black holes, I often see this depiction of it. It kinda looks like two circles interlocking at 90 degrees. But it also looks like one of the circles is bent like a taco. So I'm thinking, maybe I can achieve a similar look with shrink plastic. I drew and cut out this yellow and orange circle, and I'm gonna heat it up and bend it into shape while it's shrinking. The thing is, with shrink plastic, it often rubs unevenly. So I'm gonna try and flatten it with this glass jar. And this is what I got. It looks cursed. Second attempt. This time I'm gonna use my oven. The heat gun was distributing the heat too unevenly. It should shrink more organically this way. The issue with this method is that I gotta move fast. While it's still hot to the touch, it also cools down quite quickly, so I gotta flatten it and bend it within seconds. Great, it has already hardened. Let me put it back into the oven again to soften it and repeat the process. Bend, bend. Okay, not too bad. But it doesn't look right. Third time's the charm. This time, I'll do the bending after it's cooled. I have the heat gun after all. I can control exactly where I want to heat up and bend accordingly. And there. Okay, this one is good. It's got the exact shape I want. But that's only like half a black hole. There should be another circle at the bottom. I'm not gonna do a full circle, because I need it to be able to stand on its own. So I'm gonna give it tiny little curved legs. It still doesn't look like a black hole. And that's because it's just a hole right now. Let me tape a piece of black construction paper in the center. And there it is. Nice. Alright, so here are my 3 attempts at the black hole. The first one is cursed. The second one looks okay, but the shape looks off. The third one looks great. Yes, it's a bit on the small side, but I think I can make it work. I want the silver surfer to look like she's coming out of the black hole. Having the black hole this small isn't ideal, but I can wedge it in between the base and the board. How does that look? Okay, it doesn't look that good. What if I add my other pieces on it too, to make it more 4-dimensional? Ooh, okay. It's not perfect, but it does look like some sort of portal. I'm okay with that. Alright, here's the Silver Surfer, with the fake chrome paint. Honestly, this turned out way better than I expected. Remember when I said I wanted to paint on her hair all over the body? I think I did that. The figure actually looks like it's made out of chrome. The little bit of blue and bronze helped. What do you think? Do you like what I've done with the silver? She now looks so much more high-end. The original figure looks so weird to me now. The painted version is so mesmerizing to look at. She almost looks airbrushed. Almost. But nope, it's just acrylic paint. As for the base, it is okay. The changes I made feels unnecessary, but I do like the lighter tips. The black hole effect could have been bigger, but I don't hate the size. It's not so big where it takes the attention away from the Silver Surfer, and it kinda has this forced perspective look to it at certain angles. So overall, I think this was a success. I was initially a bit worried that I wasn't gonna do much with Silver Surfer. I didn't want to just slap some silver paint on her and call it a day. I wanted to treat every figure in this wave equally. I redid Sue's force fields, I made Herbie for Ben, so I wanted to do more for Shala Ball, and I think the black hole effect is a good prop for her. Alright, let's end this with the photo shoot. I love how she looks in photos. She almost looks CGI. Okay, that doesn't sound like a good thing, but she looks unreal. That's a better word to use. She's just so pleasing to look at. And the black hole effect? It actually looks pretty good in photos too. It's kinda funny that my mistakes or failed attempts actually turned out to be useful. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give this video a like and subscribe to see more content like this. I do want to make a displays for these figures, but I may need a bit more time. I have an idea in my head, but I need more time to execute it. So until then, stay inspired and I'll see you soon. I can make it, so can you.